Oi ratbags! Welcome to another Grounded first look. We're taking a look at the future of Grounded again. Looks like there's a whole bunch of stuff that may be in this update that we still don't really know what it is. Changes to the upper yard, and we get a first look at the mixer, the brand new base defense point inside the sandbox. Also going to be talking about the features that have been changed from currently planned. The Grounded devs have updated the feature board and there's a lot to go over. And of course, when are we gonna be playing the Bug Strikes Back update? So if you love Grounded, you want to see more, then check out the rest of my in-depth analysis videos. Make sure you're subbed for guides and tutorials and leave a like. Let's go. So when is update? Well, normally when they're getting things ready to put out on the PTB or full main, you can actually check the Steam depots. And if they've got a lot of activity beforehand, it's a good bet they're about to go live. It does look like they've got their final build ready for release. So yeah, I'm expecting it to drop in the next 24 hours or so. The upcoming feature board has been changed and there's more additions put to it, or they've moved things around. And I'm going to explain why I think a lot of this stuff might not end up coming to 1.0 now. But clearly we see a bunch of stuff shown off in the PAX exhibition that is now blue, so it's definitely coming this week, or hopefully in the next few weeks it's going to be iterated on. You can see it's got the canteen and the torch, as well as storage naming. Also interesting, it doesn't say chapter 1 anymore, it simply just said story. That was puzzling me when I showed this off only a few weeks ago. And yes, it's removed the Ant Queen, it now just says new bosses. And obviously we know additional backyard environments. That's all going to be part of the 1.0 release. The devs have said they're not going to be adding that kind of content in the future updates until 1.0. But it doesn't mean there might not be any changes.
So with this update, we don't have any new biomes. We are, there might be some changes to the upper yard that you'll see. And we are working on some new stuff for our final release.
Additional weapon types and pheromone control, more tier 3 armor and weapons, additional crafting materials. So all the stuff that we kind of know and has been there before. And more decorations and higher tier structures. But yeah, it doesn't say chapter 1 anymore, so maybe they're jettisoning that idea. I think an interesting feature is this for the future. I am saying that I think this might be actually after 1.0. They've got additional backyard environments again. So that says to me it could potentially be DLC or an update after 1.0. Additional creatures and insects, weather, backyard changing events, base blueprints with powered buildings, framework for player generated gameplay, insect pet enhancements, bird improvements, additional crafting stations and additional burgle quest types. Now again, a lot of this stuff has been in there before, but they've definitely moved things around a little bit. We know from the actual PAX East Q&A session, Adam pretty much said that weather is something they want to add, but it is on their list of priorities and it's maybe not high up at the moment.
I think like even just rain has been something that I've, you know, when I dream about Grounded, I dream about rain in Grounded. And I dream about Grounded every night. But yeah, it's something that I would love to see come to Grounded. It's been a challenge on how to get that to look and feel right. So we're, you know, we discussed it amongst ourselves on the team on how to pull it off. Making things look wet across the board is another one of those challenges. So I think we're gonna, you know, look at other weather features first if we introduce weather, and then tackle rain after that. And then I don't know about snow. I think that's an additional headache for the dev team, but. You know, I think that's the dream, right? Is to have all the cool stuff because everyone sees themselves in that, you know, fantasy of those raindrops falling and seeing what happens. So hopefully we can make it happen someday. I
honestly don't think we're going to see that until after 1.0. I told you guys, I think that they may not be able to release it this year. That was based on a pretty new rumour by an industry insider. And that's because there were so many features here that I just couldn't see how they could get it all done in just a few months, even if they have been working on this stuff or using outside partners like I've shown you. But for sure, if they're saving this lot for after 1.0, then I guess we got to trust that they can indeed deliver everything else in just 2 or 3 months. That's when I think the game's going to release. I really do believe it's going to be late August or possibly even July to celebrate its 2-year birthday. And some of this stuff, although it sounds great and sounds like it would almost be an accessory, not really. As much as weather's great, is it really something that's going to affect and change the gameplay? Unless the world is going to become flooded, or if it just means that we get easier access to water, do we really need weather? Likewise, some of this other stuff. We've already had some backyard changing events like the haze and being able to push over the shovel. When you think about some of the other areas, is there anything else that could make life a bit easier? Or more of a challenge, like affect the gameplay? The one improvement I see in the future being good would be a fast travel system using the Crow. But again, it's not necessary at the moment, we can get around the yard pretty easily. Inset pet enhancements, the devs did say they were thinking about using mounts in their dev stream again. It's something the devs would like, they've even prototyped it in the past.
It's something that we have prototyped in the past, and we would love to do it. It's one of those, like, how does it fit into the rest of the game? And it's something that I think, you know, as a team, we would love to have it, because I think it's super cool, right? Like, who wants to not ride around on their ant or ladybug, or even like a roly-poly would be pretty cool, or Cedo, Oxfield. But yeah, I think that's something that probably not soon, but it's something is definitely on our backlog of like hot top wish listed features that even on the team we'd love to do at some point.
So never not happening, but like I said, not maybe soon. I feel like this is definitely something that will happen after 1.0. One of the biggest reasons you have mounts is to get across the yard quickly. But with zip lines and potentially bouncers and other ways like catapults maybe in the future, do we really need anything else to help us get across the yard? I would argue as long as we get some maybe improvements or adjustments or upgrades to the glider, or certainly some way to go back up zip lines, then pets aren't as big a deal. At the moment, the pets just give you a tiny little buff, and if you don't have the modes where they can live forever, they die pretty easily. And yeah, things like framework for player generated gameplay, that is a big undertaking. That's like having a creative mode in Fortnite where you can adjust and make your own mini games. That's what I've always assumed, and when I've looked into it in other games and devs speak, that's what I kind of get. Obviously, it might not be as big or as robust as something like Fortnite's creative mode, but you get the idea. So again, these are all I do believe going to come after 1.0. Like I said, it's just me, you know, having a little talk. You can disagree. It's only an opinion. But based on everything we know and how much work they've got to do, I just can't see a lot of this stuff being added in by then. Of course, the biggest one that a lot of people want is dedicated servers. And Adam did kind of pour a little bit of cold water on this.
We are working on some stuff with regards to that. We're not ready to kind of talk about that particular feature yet. We are working on something. It's not quite probably, you know, that dedicated server mode, but it's something that will hopefully allow players to kind of play in that way. Okay. And we'll be talking about that in the future. Like, it won't be for this patch, but something that we would like to have in the future.
See, the dev stream gave us a whole bunch of stuff shown off, but there were a few features and items that people were wondering what they could be. One of them was this picture that's been posted by Pickle Juice World from the stream, and it shows a bunch of ferns by the looks of things in one of the upper pond yards, just above where the wood is in the pond. It does look to me as well like we've got some sort of big structure here. A lot of people were hypothesizing it could be the lawnmower. But what if it is a refrigeration unit at last and a cold biome? Definitely there's something big and massive going on in this corner. And what is this structure here as well? This looks pretty big and massive. That definitely is the wall. And obviously we've got the side of the shed. I think they would want to keep this stuff really super secret and not actually show it off to everyone now. But there is a chance it might be empty. Whatever is here, it might not have any creatures. It may not have any dungeons. Basically, it might just be empty shells for us to go and explore. Of course, we've got many other of these mixer points, and yes, as I showed you at the start, one is in the sandbox next to the blue shovel. So it'll be interesting if we can build or jump on that shovel and use it to fire down. Is that a hole that's going to be dug as well with the shovel? Looks like there's a little bit more sand there. Maybe you might just imagine things. But yeah, I can't wait to dive in and test all this stuff out.
It's 10%. We're probably going to decrease that probably to like 1 or 2%.
Great.
And then for the rewards, I don't think the next patch will have any rewards for peeping everything and getting the gold cards, but we do want to introduce some sort of reward for collecting everything and getting all the gold cards.
That was the devs responding to a question about the gold cards and more in terms of how we'll get them. So basically you only get the gold versions of the creature cards when you actually loot them. So that's the small chance you'll get. Otherwise you will be able to peep every creature and get info about them, but the gold versions only when you kill and loot them. There was also more detailed information about how we're going to be raided while we're just playing a game. It's not simply just the mixers, there are other mechanics involved and other ways that we will have to fight off the bugs.
we are currently introducing is the factional wave. And so while you're out and about and killing things of various factions, so if like the red ants, for example, if you're in the red ant hill, you will start getting messages that the red ants are getting more and more angry towards you. Wow. And when you do return back to your base, there is a % chance where the red ants will come in and check you out.
Okay.
So we are putting a lot of effort in how that system works, and it is a very difficult problem if you have a huge base, if you have multiple bases, and how difficult it should be. So we have a lot of knobs that we can tune, and the one thing that we are looking at is feedback on this particular. This is a tough one to get right, so we are looking at a lot of getting everyone's help and how this feature turns out. How big your base is, how many players are in the game, what your difficulty level is. So if you're playing on low mode, that will affect how many creatures will come and mess you up, if you will. So that's
okay.
That's something that is also if you're playing in a custom game, you can turn that feature off completely.
Okay.
Hopefully that's going to help ease people's fears. I've seen it a few times for point comments, and again, I've seen it in other creators worrying that base defenses is going to ruin the game. I promise you, this is going to be one of the best features going. This is going to enhance the gameplay, give us more to do. I'm so excited for it because it really does give more replayability. Random events, that's what I want in a survival game. I don't want it to always just be on my terms. It's the best moment when a spider jumps out at you that you weren't expecting, or something goes south very quickly. So when you're exploring, you piss off the red ants and they're going to come and attack your base. That is music to my ears. But clearly they've said you'll be able to turn this off.
And I have one simple question. Are there any plans for any very creepy crawlies such as house centipedes?
There you go.
Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see later on, but yeah, we're always think of new creatures to work on, and we've definitely talked about centipedes.
So again, probably a last time I'll mention it, but I do think more creatures like that won't come until after 1.0. We've only got maybe a few days to find out if any of these changes make it in. Like, what are these blue lights? Is that another pagoda on the upper pond garden area in the flower bed on the left? We'll find out. I'll be there every step of the way to show you guys. As soon as it drops, I'll be there with videos and content. So make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you lots later.